guys, I'm Phoebe Ross, and we are assigned to interview a senior citizen for our class, Sociology class 1101 under Miss Vernetta Johnson. Mike, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Good afternoon, class. My name is Mike Spronk. I'm a friend of Phoebe and her husband, Brian, and it's a pleasure to be here with you and share ideas a little bit about how seniors think and how they live, and perhaps it will be of interest to you. I certainly hope so. Well, I'm 91 years old, be 92 in December. That's certainly a long and healthy life. I was born in 1924, frankly, in Bayonne, New Jersey. Relatively modestly poor family. I had the experience, of course, of living through the Depression, where my dad was out of work along with millions of other men. I was fortunate enough to get some good schooling. Later on, I went to 4 different universities, the last of which was an all-scholarship school. And from that education, I was able to develop an interesting career. My first professional work was as an editor and later publisher of a business magazine. And at a still later date, I formed a management consulting firm, and I directed that firm and worked with some 300 corporations worldwide until the age of 60, at which I decided to retire. So I've been very fortunate to be retired for 31 years.
So here's the first question we're going to ask Mr. Sprunk. What is it like to be a senior?
Well, it depends very much on your health. I've been extremely fortunate to be a very healthy person, both physically and mentally. Many of other people, of course, have various illnesses, infirmity, or they have problems, financial problems, family problems. So I think there's a broad spectrum, and the answer is really it is dependent on the individual. In my case, I've been blessed both with my own health and with having a good family and friends.
Okay. Does anyone treat you differently because of your age?
Yes, Faye, actually people do. I think in general here in America we give deference to the elderly. From a governmental or political point of view, you have the senior discounts. People are usually polite if you need help loading luggage at the airport or carrying things. I think sometimes we tend to assume that people in other parts of the world, especially in the Orient, there's a greater reference for age. But I would certainly say that here in America, senior citizens are well respected and well treated.
Okay. What is the best part of aging?
The best part of aging is perhaps a calming of life and the mind. You can put things more in perspective. Things that seem, even trivial things that seem very important to you when you are young are much less so as you grow older. I suppose that's what they refer to as wisdom versus the smarts or the intellectual knowledge. And I would say that's the best part of aging is the ability to put most things in life in a perspective that the Buddhists refer to as nirvana, that it's just an understanding of this is the way life is, and the best thing you can do is be acceptance of it and moving along.
Okay. What is on your bucket list? List of things that you want to do before you kick the bucket?
Well, I'm particularly fortunate in that I've lived 91 years. I think this expression, which came out of the movie The Bucket List, before you kick the bucket, applies much more to people in their 50s or 60s, and they realize that that a significant amount of their life has already passed, but they still have a reasonable amount of time to accomplish some of the things that they've not yet done. In my case, I've traveled the world, I've associated with billionaires, I've met and talked to two U.S. presidents. I've had the love of a wide variety of family and friends. So at this point, at 91, there isn't a lot. I've seen the national parks, and of course, this is one of the things I recommend to Americans. A lot of the older people think, oh, I want to go to Europe, or I want to go to India, or places like that. And I think that's wonderful, but I would, from my personal experience, having traveled a great deal, I would suggest that you can have a very wonderful time right here seeing all of the things that are to be seen in America, including the national parks. But even people often say that, it's wonderful to visit New York, but I wouldn't want to live there. And I agree with them. I wouldn't want to live there permanently either, but it's a fabulous place to visit. It's a vibrant town with so many things to do.
I'll go there too. Okay, what is the secret to successful aging?
Well, interestingly enough, when I was 75, my daughter gave me a book on that very subject, Successful Aging. It was based on a $20 million study done by the MacArthur Foundation, and it stated three things. And it talked about not just living longer. We all like to live longer, but more importantly is to live well. And as you say, Faye, to live successfully. The study showed that to accomplish that, the first thing is to basically eat nutritiously. In other words, take care of and exercise, take care of yourself. But perhaps most important to living long and well is to have an interest in things, activity, both physically, and that would be your exercises, sports and swimming and golf, tennis, soccer, but equally important to be interested in people. And I was very fortunate, as I said, I chose to retire at 60. But to keep my mind alert, I decided that I would be a management consultant to charitable organizations instead of to corporations, and to work for them pro bono. So for the past 31 years, I've been privileged to work for over more than 100 different churches, hospitals, child crisis centers, food distribution centers, and to help the people less fortunate than I and my friends. And so I think that is one of the keys to not only to be active in life, but to be helping and serving others.
That's good. Okay, and what worries you about the future, personal or big picture?
Well, personally, frankly, I have no worries. I'm financially secure, I'm in reasonably good health, I'm prepared to deal with any of the problems that I may personally face. I worry a little bit about what I call the polarity of people in life. We see the extremes at the current time in politics of the red states and the blue states, and the people who have money and the people who don't have money. But I worry about the inability of various people of different races, different economic status, of their inability to converse on a simple, friendly, cooperative basis, and that might ultimately lead to either extreme civil strife, revolutions on a national or international basis, to wars, and of course today we have weapons of unbelievable destruction.
Yeah.
And we see more than enough of that on TV. So that's the biggest thing that worries me.
Yeah. Well, what gives you hope about the future? Personal or big picture?
Well, again, my hope is to perhaps live another decade. That may be asking too much, but I've been graciously blessed. So that's the only thing I would like to be able to live another 10 years or so in reasonably good health. For the world, the thing that gives me hope is whenever I'm with young people, their curiosity, their desire for education, and that is the thing that will not only protect the world, but make it a better place in which to live. So of all of the things, I realize some people are dependent on faith and faith alone, and that's fine for them. I personally believe, though, that the education of learning more about the world scientifically as it exists, more about human behavior and sociology, such as you and your class are studying, so that you understand the different diversity of thought and backgrounds, and that instead of seeing that as adversarial, see it from a cooperative point of view, where, to use a current expression, we'll all be stronger if we work together.
Thank you for your time, Mike. It was such a wonderful time to be with you today.